All right, we're gonna. Make this a separate part because this is very important. I waded through that last crap for this. So this is your transit district disregarding all the activism around the police and saying, "Too bad for you. We've heard you tough." We're taking Hobo, who happens to be right there. See, we're gonna do what he says. Okay, these are the Trumpers. We're gonna make the police part of this whole thing, whether you like it or not. And that's what these guys like. That's what Hobo likes. He wants police everywhere. Hobo and Pootie, they like police state. They like that. They like that. Yeah, fucking kill them all, man.
Trimet into a series of new intergovernmental agreements for transit police services. These agreements will allow us to continue having
$98 million fucking dollars
in this region and district.
$98 million, and we all know that the goddamn cops do nothing. They're there strictly to control the masses. They're not there to protect anybody.
Specifically, to assist our employees, customers, riders to respond to emergencies where, in fact, the law is required. And it's also, even as late as last night, I got an email from an employee feeling not safe and looking for more support, just like this resolution brings to you.
Yes, the employees want police. That's right. They want to kill them all. Most employees are kill them all. That's true. I'm not going to deny it. They want a fascist goddamn transit system. You pay your fare, you don't ride. You wear your mask or you go to jail. I mean, that's what they want. That's why they hire these kind of people, okay? That's the kind of people they hire there.
To you today for police support out there. And this is actually from a cleaner. The resolution specifically states, though, that fare inspection would be conducted almost exclusively by personnel who are not law enforcement. And that's important. It also stipulates that our transit police will participate in all training that's recommended by the Public Safety Advisory Committee.
Big deal.
Have established. And
no, what they need to do is guarantee that, okay, they have to guarantee without any exceptions that nobody will end up in jail because of a fare issue. Okay, that's what we really want. You didn't pay your fare. You don't get arrested. You don't have the police arrest you on a warrant. You don't use that as some kind of a way that you can find a method to get somebody funneled into the police state industrial complex. Okay? And how come you're not on the trains providing actual security? Why are they never there? Where are the transit police? What are they doing?
Established through also, as this board was as well aware, the whole broader strategy of reimagining public safety and security initiative was brought to the board strategy session last November. This prime contract before you would go to the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, or MCSO, and that agency would lead the.
Yeah, see, this was their fake. This was their fake. Everything is fake. Everything. We're going to reform our police. So the Portland police gave up the responsibility for handling it, and they handed it over to the sheriff. Like that's some kind of actual change. That's no change. Zero. Although the Portland police are pretty awful. I don't know if the sheriff's any better. I doubt it.
Overall division. As the board knows, we do not have employees who are police officers or not.
Maybe you should
actually rely on our contract.
They used to have Trimet used to have its own police division. Do you know that? They did, and they decided to be part of the regular police state instead. Which this because all government funds support the general police state and the institutional fascist state that we live in. The oppression of the masses state.
To help execute this part of public safety. Now, one of the benefits of this specific move is that it provides new opportunities to connect customers and services offered also by Multnomah County, including behavioral health directly, as well as services to improve the quality of life.
Yeah, right.
Again, this is all part of the broader
sure. Safety security. We believe you. Why? You don't lie, right?
Law enforcement agencies.
You're the only government official that doesn't lie, right, Kelsey?
Include Clackamas, Washington County Sheriff's Office, and Beaverton, Gresham, Hillsborough, and the Port of Portland Police. The resolution you have before you is they're for 5-year agreements with a budget totaling $66 million over that period. And we would continue to work extensively
on money.
Our reimagined public safety plan, which which you have seen before you with specific timelines. And while we reallocate the $1.8 million, which I've already indicated in our budget for fiscal year 22, there'll be funding that would add for support services beyond
some little chump change
initiatives
piece of
as are
shit.
needed.
So 1.8 million out of 98,000. So that's 1.8%. Oh, thank you, Kelsey. Your fucking leadership is wonderful, you fucking hack. Get back to Canada.
So the $1.8 million would come from our transit police division, though, specifically, and invest in these community-based resources and improving safety and security on the system.
I'm going to say it again. 1.8% of their budget is going to that. 1.8, not 10.8, not 20.8, 1.8, which is nothing.
And the intention, as part of reimagining, was always that we had intended to keep transit police on the system. So with that, we're also very fortunate today to have the sheriff from Multnomah County Sheriff's Office with us, Sheriff Mike Reese. So I just want to see if Mike's online right now and just introduce him to the board. Mike, I know, would probably make some comments and perhaps answer any questions the board members may have. So Mike, are you online?
I am, and President Warner and members of the board, can you hear me okay?
Police, the fucking cop. Who is this guy?
Yes.
That's the sheriff, right?
As Doug said, I'm Mike Reese, the sheriff of Multnomah County, and I'm really pleased to be here today. I want to provide just a little bit of context because we began this journey of evaluating law enforcement services with Trimet back in 2019. At that time, alongside your leadership team, we started exploring new opportunities to connect with the communities we serve. At the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, we envision a safe and thriving community for everyone. And our mission is to support all community members through exemplary public safety service.
Yeah, sure.
Over the last year, MCSO finalized our strategic plan to guide us through the next few years with a foundation centered on equity, aligning our values as an agency with community values and identifying measurable goals for success. As we reflect on our role as public safety professionals, those we serve are asking us to continue maintaining a safe community while also working on significant reforms to our criminal justice system. We're really excited to begin this work on this endeavor with you, reimagining a multifaceted model of Trimet agency personnel and unarmed security to de-escalate issues at the lowest level, aligning with community values, and seeking alternative solutions prior to criminal justice system involvement. We're committed to having community members jointly identify the strategies we'll use to address local issues. We value the work of our equity and inclusion manager and the work that she does every day engaging in and evaluating the challenging dynamics we face in today's environment. I think maintaining a safe and welcoming public transit system includes trustworthy and accountable peacekeeping services. And the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office has a long history of building and maintaining community trust and developing innovative solutions.
This is a $98 million contract for them. Coming out of your transit funds. It comes out of the payroll tax. Okay, that's supposed to be for transit, but they're giving it to the police. Why don't the police provide the service as the trains go through the jurisdictions? I don't understand why there needs to be any money for the police. The police should be part of just, you're driving through Portland. The Portland police respond to crime in Portland.
Solutions to public safety issues. I believe in your mission of providing the quality mobility options and connecting people to their community. And you are the foundation that allows for a thriving and healthy.
Here we go. It gets so tiring listening to these public employees who survive on our taxes sucking each other's dicks like this. It just gets so tiring having to listen to this scripted show. You see it on every fucking level.
To community. Together, MCSO and Trimet have an opportunity to create something really vibrant, a safe and welcoming transit system that serves everyone in our community. So thank you very much. I'm happy to answer any questions.
It's very nice, Sheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff Reese. I'm also, just if you could just hang in there, Marla, I'm just going to bring you on right now. If there's anything you want to add to the comments provided so far before we open this up for any questions the board may have.
Great. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I really want to thank the Trimet board and the Trimet staff that assisted with the Reimagine public safety efforts, including
She looks really tired, doesn't she? She does not look good. She never looks good.
the community members who participated in the surveys, the focus groups, the advisory committee, and our employees who shared their stories of their safety and security concerns.
And you completely disregarded the public comment.
And needs. It is through these efforts that you will see our new innovative community-informed public safety initiative where we will use highly trained non-police personnel to balance the need of safety and security.
Sure.
We will expand our community policing initiatives with Multnomah County Sheriff and pass it through our 3-county area. Policing should be regional, consistent, and coordinated across jurisdiction boundaries, which requires the community partnerships that we've engaged in for the last 9 months. The IGA also memorializes transit police that they do not conduct fair inspections, and we will de-escalate and use police only when needed. We will strive to have our security and policing practices and outcomes to be transparent and accountable, proactive rather than reactive. And therefore, our vision to reimagine public safety is to provide excellent policing using these partnerships, innovation, technology, and serve our riders with respect, integrity, and dedication to build public trust. Our goal is to provide community-supported public safety programs that are regional in nature and welcoming for all. And I'd be happy to entertain any questions out there. Thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you, Marla. I think President Warner, I probably at this point in time, that's the recommendation in front of you. So we're all prepared to answer any questions the board members may have or further actions.
I see Director Way has her hand up, so I will call on her.
Are any of you going to speak up against this? No, of course not. Come on, Kathy.
You're muted still.
Come on, Kathy. Get with it.
Okay, I will finally get the hang of this thing by the end of this year. I promise. I do have a question for Sheriff Reese. Thank you again so much for being here today and talking a little bit about this new sort of community engagement model. My question is very specific on whether or not your office will work directly with Department of Homeland Security on any type of ICE activities on our system.
Director Way, that's a great question, and I have a strong commitment to keeping our deputy sheriffs and our police officers out of the business of enforcing immigration laws and rules. There can be no daylight between what we expect of our police officers and deputy sheriffs in providing services to everyone in our community. And that means that we're building a trusting relationship with communities that have been marginalized at times. And we can't enforce immigration laws and have a trusting relationship. So there's a really bright line for our deputy sheriffs and our police officers that they're not engaged in that work.
Thank you. That's helpful. And I just have a second follow-up question. So if someone is, let's say, unable to communicate in English or they have a disability and yet they were interacting with someone in uniform, Sheriff Reese, can you talk a little bit about your current workforce and the types of languages that are being spoken, or just who do you have, just so that we as a board have a sense of, okay, these are the folks in uniform that will be interacting with our public?
Well, let me say first that we have an affirmative responsibility to communicate with everyone. And so regardless of the barrier or the language issue or whether or not that person needs technology, we have an affirmative responsibility to work with that person so
98
that their voice is
million.
heard.
Wow.
It's one of the foundations to community-based policing.
98
that
fucking
notion
million.
of procedural justice, where you listen to and value the people's voices that are in our community. We use technology most frequently to communicate with people, so access to language lines and other devices that allow folks that may not have the ability to speak or to hear to communicate with our deputy sheriffs. And we have very robust technology as a requirement, not only for our deputy sheriffs, but also our corrections deputies. So our agency, I think, is at the forefront of good practices in that area.
There it is.
Thank you. Those
All
are
right.
all the questions that I have.
This is on one of my blog posts. $98 million. Okay, that's 1/4. That's a little under 1/4 of the taxes revenue. Okay, their taxes revenue, their payroll is $457 million, and they're giving $98 million of that into the goddamn police. Jesus.
For now.
Thank you, Director.
This is Bruce. I have a question for Marla. In terms of the timing of this coming to us now, you've been working on this for a long time, and are there some timelines that we need to be aware of in this item?
Yes, Director Warner. Currently, we have extended the police IGAs for 9 months now. We are at the end of our fiscal contract. We do not have any means to extend the contracts further or defer this. The police contract will sunset in March 31st of 2021. Therefore, it is prudent that the approval occurs so that we can actually enter into IGA contracts with our
did I do a board roundup
subsidiary
here? I don't know if I
partners and
actually
with our
did.
prime contractor, Multnomah County Sheriff's Office. And also, if our contracts do expire, we will not have a transit police division that can support our employees where the police need to respond to our system and care for them while they're having to deal with assault issues or follow up with assault claims that our employees face. And the municipal police will be competing with all other calls on the system. So therefore, if the city of Portland has many calls that evening at the same time a Trimet call is in, they will prioritize those calls, and we may not get a police response on our system. So this is a life safety issue, and it is important that we do not delay the timing of this resolution because we will not have any other options.
Oh my God, there won't be any police.
Bruce, I'd like to follow.
You know what happened in New York when the police went on strike? Crime went down. Okay, a lot of the crime is created by the police. Okay, and they don't solve violent crime, but they do bust you for all kinds of stupid shit.
For the question, and then there can be further discussion.
Well, okay. Well, what I hear you saying, would you like to make a motion to approve this resolution?
What is this?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
I never did this.
Lori.
Lori, okay. So
Got her read.
let's talk about this, and because I think Kathy, I think you wanted to talk about, do we want to move forward with this now, is what I think you were saying. So please, let's make any changes or comments that we need to on this.
Mr. Chairman, I had my hand up also.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please go ahead, Director Edwards.
Well, thank you. This might be a question for Marla. I wanted to ask, is there any periodic oversight from the public that's going to be incorporated into this?
Of course not. No, it's police.
So that they have some input. And
don't you know the police don't get oversight by the public anywhere in the United States of America?
And we also have periodic reports to know how things are going in regards to these agreements, so that the public is their interest is heard, and their issues and concerns can be addressed.
Yes, Director Edwards, it's a great question. One of the outcomes from the Reimagine Public Safety and the Advisory Committee, or the Blue Ribbon Committee, was
the Blue Ribbon Bullshit Committee. The Blue Ribbon Bullshit Committee of the fucking so-called experts that aren't even from the area. That fucking bullshit ass committee, that Kelsey. What a crock.
A Reimagine Public Safety Advisory Task Force Committee. This task force committee will be made up of 3 members from 3 different counties, and we will also have a board member that will be appointed to that. That will be the opportunity for us as Trimet, and along with Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, to share the advancements on the IGA contracts and the content of those contracts, and also to be able to get community input and feedback, especially around the new Reimagine activities of decreased police personnel in the system, but increase mobile health teams and other response teams on the system to be able to adequately address our riders' safety concerns. Also, one of the other items that came out of the Blue Ribbon Committee recommendations is to have an annual report that will be given showing and highlighting the evaluations we've done on the programs and the effectiveness and the outcomes of those programs. So we look forward to bringing that to you. I think we've also tentatively stated we would come back to the board in the first quarter, maybe early second quarter, to share you what achievements we have already done around the Reimagine Public Safety initiatives, including the policing contracts.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Marla. Do we have a criteria for the makeup of who will be on the task force?
We are working on that right now with John Gardner's group and getting feedback from the different members that was in the advisory committee. We know that there was a lot of interest from those that were on the Blue Ribbon Committee to keep participating in those in the advisory task force committee, and we will certainly reach out to that group. We want it to be reflective of the community. We want the makeup to be very similar to the Blue Ribbon Committee, representing those that have disabilities, those who are from lower socioeconomic communities, the BIPOC community. I'm trying to think of all of the profile that John Gardner did. We would try to resonate that advocates of the houseless community and really make sure that we are serving the community voice that we need to hear from to be able to create this reimagined public safety.
What is this? Oh, look at
that. Are the individuals that will be on that task force, are they,
the fuck is
do
this?
They have a term that's, that they're going to be assigned, like a year, 6 months, 2 years? And if so, I would hope that they would be staggered, so that we don't lose, a whole group of task force members all at the same time.
We are working on the charter right now, and it's in draft form, and I will definitely add that if it's not already in there, to have staggered terms and limits.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Director Gonzalez, I see your hand is raised.
This is all crap.
Thank you. Yes, I managed to find the function on the machine.
Congratulations.
It's the small things that allow the day to triumph. So I do have a question for you, Sheriff Reese. It's nice to see you again. I'm curious about what role you might have had or your agency might have had during the preceding reimagining public safety effort that Trimet just went through. I'm curious about any sort of exposure, if there wasn't much of a role, what exposure you have already had in the process of coming to today, and if you have any words for us as the board or the public about how that effort is folding into you rolling into this proposal and this contract?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Director Gonzalez. I think we have had a role and relationship in this process. The leadership transitioned in August of 2020 as the Portland Police Bureau pulled their leadership team out, and we had a lieutenant assigned to the Transit Police Division that stepped in and then was also assisted by the captain of our community engagement unit. And so the reimagining happened in concert with our conversations with the Trimet leadership team around public safety and well-being on the system, and looking at alternatives to uniformed police officers, and using models like our HOPE team, where we have homeless outreach, programs of engagement, teams that work on houseless issues and livability issues in East County, using that as a model for how we may do things differently with the Transit Police Division moving forward, bringing in additional capacity from Multnomah County Behavioral Health Units and the Joint Office on Homelessness. So I think there's been really vibrant conversations. I see this as a great opportunity, a model for what the future of safety and well-being can be on a transit system as transit agencies across the United States are addressing these same questions right now. And I want to be at the forefront of really good practices that align our values as public safety professionals with community values and expectations.
Thank you for sharing that that information and that perspective, Sheriff. And I now have a question for Ms. Marla Blagg. This has to do with something you mentioned earlier with regards to the extensions. I'm curious as to, with regards to the timeline, why were there extensions? Like, I understand we're kind of at a moment here with regards to the contract termination, but I wasn't clear on what prompted the need for extensions along the way. Why are we kind of at this moment talking about it? I guess that's the question.
Yeah, Director Gonzalez, we were poised at the end of the last fiscal year to move forward with the police contract, and the unfortunate occurrence of George Floyd happened. And with that, the general manager had chosen not to put the contracts forward because we had enough funding in the current contracts to be able to do an extension. And that would allow us the time to do all of the reimagined public safety. As you know, it was a very robust and very aggressive community outreach program. And that took us pretty well through July until the end of December. And then we have been actively working on contracts concurrently at the same time while the extensions were given, so that no police contracts expired during this time.
You can see what this better red is. This is an engineering pork barrel of unbelievable that they would. This is like a $200 million project, this fucking ridiculous waste of tax dollars. We already have the fucking train tracks, and look at all of this. But, of course, we'll have all of our apologists going, I mean, it's going to make it better. Yeah, sure, you fucking idiots.
It's, you know, an effort of unfortunate challenges for COVID and George Floyd and winter storms that we are bringing this to you now. It would have been our preference to bring it to you a lot sooner, but other constraints happened.
Thank you. And, you know, to that end, I'm curious if you could share with us what is a life safety issue, an example of a recent life safety issue that is being responded to right now by the transit police staff in these winter or pandemic times?
Yeah, they, and I'll just grab my little crime stat sheet here in front of me. Our biggest concern right now is operator and employee assaults. Those are rising. In January of 2021, we had 73 employee.
Just stop for this for a minute. This is Trimet Engineering and Construction utilizes temporary staffing firms to augment. They don't have enough people there. You see, they don't have enough people. They got hundreds of people, but they don't have enough people. In April 2019, Trimet issued requests for proposals. Blah 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 blah, and then so these fucking whoever they are, these David Evans, whoever the fuck he is. Well, they had a contract for $1 million, but now they're changing it to $1,700,000 because that's what you get when you're a fucking pork barrel. Anytime you need more money, that the government has it. Here, it's right here. You want it, all you got to do is ask. But for actual people, you can't even get $1,400 out of these motherfuckers.
Assaults versus in January 2020, we had 30.
Yeah, there's a lot of assaults. Now, what are you going to do about it? You're going to have people like riding the buses finally?
36 for the month. So it's almost doubled, if not it is double. Our other crimes that we have a really big uptick on weapons on the system. From guns to knives to machetes. We frequently see that. Never mind a lot of bricks, rocks, and other items, BB guns being shot at our buses and regular trains. We've had several number of our buses busted out with people being aggressive and bad behavior and throwing large objects at our buses. And just, I think, in the last day or two, one of our bus operators tried to correct someone's behavior. They got off the bus and busted out the window and threw an object at the operator. So that's the most.
Yes, that job is very dangerous, and if you don't know how to handle people, you're a target. And as the civilization continues collapsing around us, it's going to get worse. And the police are never there, never. Although they have shown up in some cases pretty quickly. This last batch of calls, they were real fast. I was shocked.
It's a lot of crimes against persons, crimes on the property, and then weapons and drugs on our system.
And thank you. I appreciate that. And I didn't mean to spring, these detailed questions at you, but it helps to point to something that I think is critical for us to understand as the public about the kind of things that the kind of work that is being done by this part of the agency or the staff at this time.
You don't prevent anything, all right? We're listening to the operation. The cops are never there. Okay, usually they take a long time to show up.
But also it points to something that I think is also missing in the storyline of the kind of work that our community needs, frankly, and could and should be part of that community service story. And I'm thinking about, the recent winter issues with the folks not being able to be served. There was ice on the tracks. There was folks that were dropped off nowhere near where they wanted to be. And being able to serve the public in those instances, the examples Director Y brings with folks not being able to communicate, easily in the language, and just navigating and how to learn how to be good users of the system, how we have that community service lens, and how important that work is as well. And I know that as we reimagine public safety, these become stronger elements in building the trust relationship Sheriff Reese described. So I appreciate that, and I'm not trying to pontificate too much, so I'll leave that because I know we're still in the question round, but I thank you for that information.
Dr. Way, I see your hand is back up.
Yes, and I know that Director Edwards also has his hand up, so so if I may, I will go first and just sort of ask a clarifying question. So I just heard General Manager say that this was a $66 million contract over 5 years.
It's not 66,
and that is
it's
not
98.
In the resolution language.
98 million, 98 million, Kathy.
For the fiscal impact is that this would be close to $100 million over 7 years. So I just want to clarify that.
Oh, wait. Oh,
So I'm looking at number 6, fiscal/budget impact.
what is it? Let me look. I closed it.
That's correct. So it's not $66 million over 5 years, but it's closer to, it's the exact figure that I see is $98,517,839. That this contract would be extended from 2021 to 2028.
I am incorrect, and the resolution is correct.
Let me see.
So I stand corrected on my comments there.
Great.
Thank you
and
for
I
catching
think I just want to point the
See,
significance
look, customer feedback.
the
So the
vote that is
majority
before
feel
us today,
safer with the
because
present plan. See how
this
they
is a
see
large
how they
contract that our board
just so
is
that
going
you
to
can
be
see this. They just completely disregarded the majority of what we see on the social media. They just disregarded it. See? Yeah. See, it's just they just regarded it completely. So, this is what you're dealing with, they don't care about the people that don't want it, okay? And I already knew that. I mean, I already knew Trimet is an integral part of the American police state industrial complex. I mean, the whole idea is to keep people oppressed, and they use whatever methods they can find to oppress us and keep us oppressed. And so they just disregarded all the negative completely, and they said that the majority want the cops, and I question that. I don't even believe it. They're known liars. They fake their data. They fake their results, and they've been known to be just fucking liars. And I'm done with this for today.